homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com, use promo code DOC, and get 15% off your purchase. That's neverforgottenapparel.com.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
Have you done it? You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror?
I'm one of those people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah, most of us. But I mean, you look and you're going, what the?
I know.
How did I get to whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Hey there, it's Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs to tell you about a different way to shed those pounds. This is brand new tech. It's only been around for a couple of years or so. It was based on research from the University of California that said there's a molecule called OEA that's found naturally in your body. It produces it in the Mediterranean diet, that when taken in concentrated amounts, it will actually make you feel fuller and boost your metabolism.
I've lost about 10 pounds so far.
It's amazing.
It really is cool.
A company said, we can take this to market and make this great product that'll help you. It's called Riduzone, RIDUZone.com, RIDUZone.com. It's Brad's work. It's worked for Brad's, worked for me, countless other people. Go to Riduzone.com and try today. You're going to love it. Riduzone.com. Remember that, RIDUZone.com.
Oh, hell yeah. A pickle store. A freaking pickle store, Matt. You gotta love it. The only pickle store in San Diego. Huh.
What kind of pickles?
Like edible pickles. Pickles. They're just pickles. Huh. Good afternoon, folks. Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro, here on Spoony Radio. Thanks for joining us today. Let's see. It's Tuesday. Nothing special about Tuesday, just a little food news going on today. I was perusing through the articles out there, and I came across this feed. It actually popped up because of a photo that I saw on Twitter on Valentine's Day. Actually, it was before Valentine's Day, but it was this interesting bouquet made out of pickled vegetables. So it had, standard pickles, cucumbers. It had pickled okra, a whole bunch of other different pickled items. But it was a bouquet that actually, I think I put it out on Facebook about a week before, or maybe 4 days before Valentine's Day. It went viral. It went nuts, and there were comments all over Twitter and all over Facebook about it. It didn't go viral because of me. It just went viral because of the initial tweet. But I didn't realize this. It was actually from Twitter. It started out on a lady named Ashley Jacobs. Well, it didn't start there, but it ended up on Valentine's Day. It went to a young lady named Ashley Jacobs from News 8 in San Diego. It went on her Instagram page, and it went absolutely viral. But this is actually from a store called the Original Pickle Store, located in University Heights in San Diego. And they have everything from fermented kelp to pickled watermelon, which actually pickled watermelon rind is a very classic pickle in certain parts of the Northeast. My Aunt Bertha, sorry about the name. I love you, Aunt Bertha. Rest her soul. She used to make these Christmas pickles. You take the white part of the rind, and she made these brilliant green and like bright green, almost emerald colored, and brilliant red Christmas pickles. They were just both the same flavor. They were dyed different colors, but that's not so weird. But they have a bunch of pickle mixes that are specifically for Bloody Mary concoctions. Anyway, check it out. It's pretty interesting. The average person, the average U.S. citizen, eats 8 pounds of pickles a year. 8 pounds is a lot of pickles. I'm just telling you. All right. Anyway, that's the pickle store in San Diego. Interesting stuff. Who'd have thought? Couple other things in food news today. I don't know if you read, but today is National Chocolate Mint Day. Now, that doesn't mean much to Matt in the booth over here because he doesn't eat sweets, but, the history of chocolate's pretty long and pretty interesting. Obviously, the explorers first brought cacao, or the raw chocolate, back from from South America, the Aztecs and Incas. It played a major role in their culture, but they used to drink it as just a bitter hot drink. And then in Europe, when it first came back, it was pretty unpalatable. So they started putting things like cinnamon, mint, and other spices in there. And eventually, sugar made its way in. And by the mid 1800s, chocolate was actually in mass production. Technology had advanced enough that they could mass produce, at least on a local level, large amounts of chocolate that could serve either a local or national population. One of the first big distributors nationally was Huyler's. That's Huyler's. They were based out of New York, and they had a chain of chocolate shops, retail stores across the United States. I don't think they're around anymore, but I've done some research on them in the past, and I was thinking, what are all these items? Think of all the things that have this mint and chocolate pairing. All of the food and beverages that are out there. Now, you have things like mint chocolate chip, right? Mint chocolate chip was my mother's favorite ice cream. It's actually the 10th most popular, I believe, according to the U.S. Creameries Association or Dairy Board, 10th most popular ice cream flavor. I would have thought it would fall on a little bit below that with all of these new flavors coming in, but it's the 10th most popular, and it was my mother's favorite. And I think about all the times late at night I would see her with a bowl of ice cream. She loved ice cream and cheese, two of her favorite things. But as she became diabetic later in life, probably in her early 50s, that's the one thing she would not give up was ice cream. She loved mint chocolate chip. I just remember her sitting on the couch with a bowl of ice cream, and I scraped my finger. I'm bleeding. Oh, Band-Aid. Anyway, think about that. What are those food items that remind you of a family member, or that just every time you see it, you think, oh man, that reminds me of home? For me, it's little things like that. She loved coffee. Man, that woman would drink coffee morning, noon, and night, and tea as well. For some reason, coffee was her favorite go-to. I preferred tea, but that mint chocolate ice cream was her favorite ice cream. And growing up, I don't remember having anything in the refrigerator but that. On occasion, Neapolitan, which I don't know why people bother putting the strawberry in Neapolitan, because nobody eats it. They eat the chocolate and the vanilla, and that strip of strawberries tends to just stay in the middle of the container, and everybody eats around it. Anyway, a couple of other things. There's Andy's Candies, right? Andy's Candies is one of my favorites, and actually as a child, it was my favorite because when I went to the doctor's office, they had Andy's Candies at the counter when you left instead of a lollipop. And so I would always grab, well, you were supposed to only take one. I would grab 3 or 4. But if I was really lucky, if we had to go to the pharmacy after, either this was a visit for my mother or myself, she would be kind enough to buy a box of them. And they didn't last long. They probably lasted about a half a day. But that classic pairing has become very popular. And probably the most popular pairing of those two is the Girl Scout Thin Mints. Now, I don't know about you, but if I open a sleeve of Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies, I have to eat the whole sleeve. I can't just have 3 or 4 cookies. I can't have a tiny glass of milk with 5 or 6 sips in it, and 3 cookies. I can't. I eat the whole sleeve with a big glass of, well, I like whole milk, but I've recently started substituting almond milk for the last few years. But that's what I eat. Now, at least I think it was 2009, the number of cookies in each sleeve has been reduced by a few because the Girl Scouts, the cost of production went up. They did not want to increase the cost to the customer, so they reduced the number of cookies in each package. And not just for Thin Mints, there were a couple of others that they did that for as well. Their top 3 or 4. But some interesting facts about Thin Mints. Thin Mints account for 25% of all the sales of Girl Scout cookies. I mean, that may not be very surprising to you, right? You think, okay, well, big deal. Think about how many that's 200 million boxes of Girl Scout cookies are sold every year. 200, this is not cookies, 200 million boxes. So 50 million boxes alone are Thin Mints. Okay, that goes to attest to the popularity of that flavor profile, the mint and the chocolate. So those 50 million boxes, that's crazy when you think about it enough. But think about the production of that. When they first started producing these cookies, all these Girl Scout cookies, they were home baked. I don't know if it's the girls or the mothers that made them, or the adults, but they were home baked, and they would just sell them on behalf of Girl Scouts to make, to earn money for them to do their activities. But now, during during the peak baking times, Girl Scout cookie producers bake over 4.5 million Thin Mint cookies per day. Per day. 4.5 million. Now, obviously, that's not one single factory. There's no way, I don't think that you could produce that, but 4.5 million a day. That's nuts. Yeah, that I talked about in 2009. Oh, so they did also change that for Tagalogs and the Do-si-dos as well. I just thought that was interesting. What a very popular, really popular cookie that has become. Oh, and they actually have. Okay, here's an estimated. Nah, it's not. Who cares about what the percentage of people that are in Girl Scouts was? Anyway, I love me some Thin Mints. So hey, if you ever want to bribe Chef Patrick Mosher, send me Thin Mints. I'll take care of you. So thinking about that, I want to give out a recipe. If you go to the Spoony Radio Facebook page, I just posted a recipe. I'll put it up on Twitter right after this, but I put out a recipe for an Andes Candies. It's an Andes mint chocolate cake. Actually, it's an Andes mint chocolate cake, and the picture is delicious looking. So those of you that are lucky enough to be viewing right now, I'm going to, if I can get rid of this stupid little banner down here, I'm going to turn the photo around and show it to you. But that is, come on now, go away. Thank you. This is delicious looking. So I like the fact that it actually has some chunks of Andes candies on top, but that's what it looks like. And I'm going to run through the recipe real quick before I get to some other things in the news. And please be sure to stay with us till the end of the show today. In the bottom half of the hour, Chef Mark Conway, who's one of our, he's been a longtime friend of the show and of the channel, former host of Kitchen Ambush. He's going to be coming, his podcast launches next Monday. He'll be doing a show every day, and we're going to talk about some of the really cool stuff coming up. He's been invited to a very special event coming up in March, and just some very cool stuff in the news. But this recipe, that's a really long recipe. I think I'll just post it. It's got a lot of ingredients, and it's all made from scratch. So no chocolate cake mix on this one. You're going to make it from scratch. It's going to have a really nice mint buttercream frosting, and then a nice chocolate ganache to go over the top. I'll post it. It's easy to read through. So after looking at the story on the Girl Scouts and the impact that they've had in the Thin Mint in particular, but the Girl Scouts have had by creating this one line of innovative products, or just high quality products that changed the market. Really, I have to say, I'd like to see the numbers, but it's got to be, if not the number one line of cookies sold, it has to be very, very close. I mean, Nabisco and some other companies have big lines. The Oreos, and you've got the Keebler products. I'm curious though, which I think are owned by Nabisco as well. I'm curious. I'm gonna find out which one. But I started looking into other companies that have some interesting secrets, right? Like 12. So, and these are some of the biggest businesses, as far as not just companies but industries as well. And some of these are things I've looked at before. Like, this is how I found this story. I typed in, why do bags of potato chips have so much air in them? You think the first thought is that they're trying to dupe you into believing that you have a larger bag, a heavier bag of chips than you have, but that's really not it. Now, it's kind of twofold. Number one, they're not filled with air. They're filled with nitrogen for freshness. And and if you used oxygen or plain air, they'd turn rancid. In other words, the oil would start to oxidize and turn. It smells funny. It smells like oil that's been sitting in the sun all day. It goes rancid and it tastes terrible. All right, this chemical aftertaste. But also, number two, it keeps the chips from getting crushed. Now they have lightened the load in the chip bags. Sometimes it's called shrinkflation. It's the same thing that the Girl Scouts did with their cookies. They reduce the size of the number of products in the package, or the weight of the product in the package, without increasing the price, because they'd rather that you get a smaller product, which Snickers has done this in the past as well. Reduce the weight instead of increasing the price, so that way you don't drive clients away. So that was one of the first questions. Some of the other ones I came across, which I thought this is interesting. I knew this story actually from living in Bentonville and working there. In the land of Sam's and Walmart, that's actually where they're headquartered, Northwest Arkansas in Bentonville. The greeter at Walmart, I always thought was a brilliant example of hospitality. Welcome you to the store, so on and so forth. But that's not the initial reason that they had greeters. The greeters came about in about 1980, I think it was 1980, and it actually happened in Crowley, Louisiana. They had a problem with shoplifters. And so Sam Walton hired a woman, the manager there hired a woman to stand by the front door and greet customers and ask them if they needed any help. That alone was such a big deterrent and intimidating factor that it really eliminated the shoplifting in that store. And so after visiting that store, Sam Walton quickly thought, hey, this is a really good thing to do across the board. So they put greeters in every store. I thought that was a interesting twist to that particular. I mean, look, they set a lot of trends, and whether you love or hate Walmart, they're here to stay. And as a matter of fact, they are the largest organic grocer in the world, which I thought was interesting. They actually sell almost, not quite, but almost twice as much organic produce as like Whole Foods. So anyway, I've thought also about waffle mixes, pancake mixes, Aunt Jemima in a box, right? Why do you have to add oil, water, egg? I mean, why can't you just add water? It's got to have milk, egg, and oil. All right, so I did a little research on that as well, and people actually would rather add the other ingredients than just adding water. They had one that's just add water, but they kept the original around because people liked adding it. I think the reason for that also is that the flavor is better, right? If you just add water, which they have these pre-portioned. Actually, it looks like a little bottle. It's Aunt Jemima's buttermilk pancake mix, I think. But you can take those and you just add water to the fill line, shake them up, and then you pour them out. You make your pancakes, and the flavor is definitely inconsistent. It's not. I mean, it's consistent across that particular product, but it's definitely not as good as when you add, milk and oil and egg to it, because you're not using a powdered product at that point. You have the actual organic ingredient, or the whole ingredient. Anyway, I wonder. It's funny because more people order the original than they do the one that's just add water only. All right, now as a former heavy consumer of caffeine, I used to love me some Coca-Cola. And I noticed that depending on where you get the Coca-Cola, it may taste different. And the biggest distinction was at McDonald's. So I started doing a little digging, and there is, in fact, a difference in the Coca-Cola that they serve. And I couldn't figure out if the syrup that they use is different. But it is delicious. So if you don't know how soda fountain machine works, most restaurants use something called bag in box, bib. All right. So it's a box that weighs about 30 pounds, sometimes maybe 50, but it's filled with a very heavy syrup. And that syrup is the flavoring for whatever soda you're drinking. Now it's, that is drawn through a line and mixed with water, and the carbonation out of the tank, the CO2 tanks, and then that's what comes out at the end of that's what comes out of the fountain. So almost every restaurant uses this bib, this bag and box way of dispensing, and it's very cost effective because it's twofold. It's concentrated, and you get I don't remember how many servings out of that. I should look that up. I don't know why I don't know that off the top of my head. I want to say it's how many servings? How many servings in from a BIB cola? All right, so here are 640 ounces in 5 gallons, 5-to-1 ratio. So that's 640 ounces times a bunch. All right. Anyway, so when you get that, so it's 320. It's 640 cups. Okay, in one bag in a box, which is 5 gallons. So 640 cups, which if you figure the average soda is 2 cups, it's probably more, but when you fill it with ice, it's 2 cups. So you get about 320 servings. And those bag and box cost about $70. So you can do the math on that. It's not that expensive, basically, to serve you a soda. But because McDonald's does not receive their product in the same manner, they actually received theirs, right? They receive theirs in steel tanks. So the difference there is that the flavor is probably cleaner, right? And they chill their water in a separate refrigerator instead of in the soda fountain. Typically, the water line in a restaurant runs directly from the water source, through, if you have a filtration device, through that and right into the water machine or the dispensing machine, and it's chilled there. At McDonald's, they chill it in a different refrigerator so that the ratio, so that the water's pre-chilled before going in there, so it's probably colder. They also, I think, use a different ratio. I want to say that theirs is not a 5-to-1 ratio, water to the syrup. I think it's probably less. So maybe 4.5, 4.8, 4.6 to 1. Anyway, their flavor is different. If you're a Coca-Cola drinker, which I know Matlock is, then I'm telling you, hey, check it. You don't have to say, go check it out. Try it at McDonald's and then try it somewhere else.
You saw me with the Pepsi Coke.
Oh, this dude can tell you Pepsi from Coke by looking and smelling. He doesn't have to drink it.
I am not a sweets guy. Mm-hmm. And Pepsi has a different sweetener in it. And I can tell the difference.
So Pepsi to me is sweeter and it has smaller bubbles.
Well, it's sweet. Pepsi's sweeter than Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I do a Jack and Coke or a rum and Coke, I want Coke, not Pepsi.
Yeah, and it's funny because 99 out of 100 people fail that taste test.
Really?
Very few people get it, but you were spot on.
I am
Matter of
unique.
fact, I even fooled you. The first 3 that I brought out were all the same, and you were like, these are really similar, but I think, no, they're really similar. And then when I did the real taste test, you were right on.
I even knew the Walmart, Costco brand.
You did. You knew the Coke, Pepsi, and then the
whatever
generic.
the off one was.
Anyway, try it at McDonald's and try it somewhere else and see if it's not the same. If it's not different, I believe it is. All right, last insider knowledge. Now we're going to skip that one. Here's one for you. Why are so many fast food signs red? Well, there's a couple reasons, right? If you look at all the most popular signs, almost all of them, they incorporate red in them. Well, number one, it tends to your brain is hardwired to associate red with danger, right? And you pay more attention to things like that. That's why yellow and red cars receive the most speeding tickets, actually, because you're more noticeable. Don't know if you knew that, but they tend to draw the most attention and therefore are more highly visible to those in law enforcement that give you a ticket. Anyway, it doesn't really spark the appetite, which is what most people think. It just grabs your attention, and by grabbing your attention, it means you're more focused on it. So, all right. Oh man, I need to learn to eat before the show, and I really wish I would have cooked up some Spoony Wild Rice. I don't know if you've all been to Spoony Wild Rice. It's Nostalgia, wildrice.com, but I don't know how to spell Nostalgia, so I had to simplify it for myself, and you can just go to SpoonyWildRice.com. This is some of the great treasures from the great Northwest, the Minnesota backwoods. The lovely people there actually hand harvest everything that they make. They have great products. They don't just have plain old wild rice. They have this great savory wild rice polenta that can be used as a waffle mix. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go buy a waffle iron probably tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to make some on the air, and we should do chicken and waffles with that. Savory chicken and waffles with a little maple syrup on there. Okay, now I'm really hungry. They also have these great infused honeys. One of my favorite things is they do these chili jellies, these chili infused jellies. The best one is actually one that uses the ghost chili pepper. And you think it's so hot, you see these crazy videos. It's really warm. I mean, it makes your body sweat, but it doesn't burn your mouth. It's one of the best products I've had out there. I've been avoiding it for a long time, but again, it was really tasty. All right. So again, really, you got to stay tuned. Chef Mark Conway coming up here at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to talk about a few really cool things. Mark got a very interesting invite from a U.S. territory that is going to bring him in to talk about some really cool stuff. He's going to be doing a daily update for us in mid-March, I believe is when he heads out. And we're going to talk about his podcast coming up that launches next Monday, and that is Family Meal. And if you don't know what that is, stay tuned. We're going to let you know. Anyway, man, I got a lot to talk about. I don't know where the time has gone. I can't believe the first half hour is done. Anyway, Matt Locke, thanks for running the board on the first half of the hour. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
We're not solving all the world's problems, but we're bringing people to the table. Spoony.
Dating today with all the crazies out there has to be nuts.
Yes, it really would. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a place you could go to find people who think like you do?
Like me, like libertarians and conservatives?
Right?
There is. WeThePeople.dating.
Amazing. What a genius idea. This is a site that you can go to if you're single and you are looking for somebody who you're going to think the same way, as for from a political freedom standpoint. If you want to date the right person for you, you'll find them in one place. WeThePeople.dating.
Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's D-I-A, thrive.com.
Have you done it? You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror?
I'm one of those people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah, most of us. But I mean, you look and you're going, what the?
I know.
How did I get to whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Hey there, it's Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs to tell you about a different way to shed those pounds. This is brand new tech. It's only been around for a couple of years or so. It was based on research from the University of California that said there's a molecule called OEA that's found naturally in your body. It produces it in the Mediterranean diet, that when taken in concentrated amounts, it will actually make you feel fuller and boost your metabolism.
I've lost about 10 pounds so far.
It's amazing.
It
Now,
really is cool.
A company said, we can take this to market and make this great product that'll help you. It's called Riduzone, RIDUZone.com, RIDUZone.com. It's Brad's work. It's worked for Brad's, worked for me, countless other people. Go to Riduzone.com and try today. You're going to love it. Riduzone.com. Remember that, RIDUZone.com.
Spoony. Food and fun.
And we're back. Woohoo! See, I wasn't crazy.
It fired yesterday. I don't know what happened today.
I didn't hear it yesterday either, but it really doesn't
I
matter.
did hear it on the monitors yesterday, but you're back, so go.
Hey, we're back. Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. Oh, man. We're going to call her here in just a minute. Mark Conway's going to call in, one of our favorite chefs, my good friend of mine. And anyway, we were going through some of these crazy secrets of, many companies, but this whole thing started today. It was spurred by today is the National Chocolate Mint Day. So go out there, buy some Andy's candies, make the wonderful Andy's candies or Andy's mint cake that I put on the website. Actually, it's on the Spoony Radio Facebook page. But in addition to that, I was looking at that and I was thinking, okay, chocolate, the story, iconic food stories. One of my favorites is about Fumé Blanc, right? where the name Fumé Blanc came from. Really, it's not. It's from the grape is not called Fumé Blanc, but what happened was, and I've gotten this wrong before. I falsely or incorrectly said that this was an E&J, Gallo creation, so to speak, but actually it wasn't. This was Robert Mondavi was actually the. Yep. All right. So, hey, I think Chef Mark's online. I'll finish the story in just a second. Chef Conway, you there?
I am here, man.
Oh, man. I'm glad. For a second there, I thought it might be Tim Conway calling from the other side, but that would have been made for a funny segment. Maybe someday I can make that work. But brother, how you doing, man? You've been kind of, so to speak, in the industry, balls to the wall for like the last 4 months. You have been just all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is not going to end anytime soon.
Good, right? Keeps us out of trouble. We idle hands, right? Idle hands is a problem for chefs in many ways.
Yes, it is.
Hey, so man, you got a lot going on. First and foremost, I've been informing the listeners, your podcast, Family Meal, is going to launch next Monday, right? We got to pick a time yet, so we'll discuss that off the air. But tell me where that came from and what does that mean? I mean, you and I know, but it means more than just sitting down at the table with your family. What's the meaning behind that, the deeper meaning?
It really does. When we were talking about developing this and putting this show together, one of the biggest things I wanted to be able to touch on was something that spoke to both the industry and at home. And Family Meal is something near and dear to both sides. It's that piece that I feel that families are missing right now. Is that ability, and friends and families, the whole in the gambit, missing that ability to sit around a table and talk and build those relationships that don't take place necessarily over an electronic device. But then also, it's probably one of my favorite times in the restaurant industry was before the shift started. One of us got the job of cooking dinner for everybody at the restaurant, and that was called Family Meal. So it's going to be a really fun talk show that really hits on all of that.
Well, and in the restaurant industry, it's tough. It's and even if you're a single individual, it's grueling, and you typically spend more hours with those that you work with than you do with your family members, even your closest friends, and so it's really appropriately called family meal. Some call it a shift meal, but a shift meal more is like at the end of your shift, you get something you can order off the menu at a discounted rate, and you can sit down and eat before you leave. And that's really not what this is. If anyone's seen the movie Burnt, there's this very interesting at the end of the movie is really probably the most impactful statement, and that's the chef who's portrayed by, I'm not good with actors' names, but anyway, what's the chef that plays the role in Burnt? He's
oh my God, yeah, he's in everything.
Yeah, he was in a Hangover, and he's currently in what a Star Is Born. Cooper. What's his name? First name? Yeah. Anyway,
yep, Cooper,
that guy. Not like he's not the most popular actor in the world right now. That tells you what my social life consists of: show prep and talking to other show hosts. And well, a little more than that, but not much. So anyway, in the show, there's a certain I don't want to say arrogance, right? But there's a certain level of control and freakish. I don't know how you say it. Look, chefs are very, very controlling, right? Because every plate that goes out of the kitchen has your name on it. And so in this story, he's trying to regain his Michelin star, so on and so forth. And he, Bradley Cooper, right? So he's this kind of recovering addict. And anyway, the entire time they have Family Meal, he just sits in his office and works. And at the end, in the very last moment, you see him finally get up and go out and actually grab a plate of food and sit down with his family, the group that he operates with, all his staff and employees, and he actually sits down and has a meal. And for me, it was a very entertaining movie. I'm not sure there wasn't enough food porn in it for me. They should have more photos of the food, to be honest with you. But that was a real big statement because a lot of times we end up doing that in the kitchen. Like everyone sits down for, I got a little bit left to do. There's always more to do. We don't take the time to take care of ourselves. And that's a really bad thing in this industry. I think it's critical.
It is. It absolutely is. And with, there's a lot of people that have not been touched by the restaurant industry, maybe don't know somebody that is in the restaurant industry, and realize the very real problems, the very real addictions and, things that happen inside that industry that take the lives of a lot of chefs early and late in their careers just because of how demanding that career choice is.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So on that note, you got your first interview out of the way. I know it's recorded in the books, and we're gonna do a little editing here for you, so we can pop that up on Monday. But do you want to talk about who your first guest is, or you want to do it blind?
We'll do it a little blind, but we'll have some fun hints. I'll tell you, the guy is fantastic. He is and has been a White House chef. He has cooked for 7 presidents, a king, a queen, a prince, and has some of the funniest stories about what presidents literally at 2:00 in the morning want to snack on. And I got to tell you, one of the stories that blew my mind the most, these guys are not even allowed to hold a knife. So if they wanted to go in and make a sandwich, the White House cook or chef had to be the one that made it, because they're not allowed to touch a knife. And I said, well, what, of course, my brain instantly starts going to, what food they eat. And I'm like, well, what if they have a steak? They said if they have a steak, they have to have a Secret Service person literally sitting right over their shoulder that is within 1 second of removing the knife from them if they have to cut it.
That's crazy, isn't it? Is it so they can't inflict self-harm?
Unbelievable. But
is it so they don't inflict self-harm?
It was so that no one could grab the knife.
That's always the other thing. So no one could do harm with it, yeah.
He kind of chuckled on it. Yeah, I mean, it could have been for every gambit of reason, but that it was just entertaining to hear. And I think that's really what you're going to hear a lot on this show is kind of the inside lives of just people and families and food. And he got to, he touched on several different, White House families that he's worked with. And then just some of the stuff from being on the road and the way he got to becoming a White House chef. Kids are asked all the time, what do you want to be when they grow up? Apparently this guy's answer was, I want to be a White House chef. Wow. From childhood on up.
And that's a pretty hot. Now, so let me tell you, in order to do that, you don't just have to be an amazing chef. You have to have a spotless record. You have to be an outstanding citizen, and you have to have some references that you probably couldn't dream up how you couldn't write them yourself to be complimentary enough to get that kind of position. You really couldn't.
No, and he told me, he said there's 2 tracks to becoming a White House chef. One is you have all of those things in a ginormous checkbook to donate towards that campaign, or the actual normal way you get it is you join the Navy.
Really?
They said all 40 of the staff on the White House culinary staff come from the Navy.
Wow.
And you have to go through the Navy, and the smartest way to do it is to go through the culinary program on a submarine, because the submarine, you already get the top secret clearance you need. Because you also have to have top secret clearance and work your way up through that. He said he didn't even go to culinary school, but ended up as a White House chef.
That's awesome.
And
okay,
it's just a fantastic story to learn more about this guy.
Okay, so I haven't listened to the audio yet, but of course I'll listen while we're editing. And don't give out any more secrets, because I mean I know there's a lot more in that interview, but let's hold off on that, because man, that's really cool stuff. Some other things. So we spent some time in Connecticut 3 weeks ago or so at the Mohegan Sun Wine and Food Festival. I know they have 5 more events coming up. Well, they have 6 a year. I don't know. We may have missed one, but I'm really looking forward to trying to get the rest of those. But one of my favorite events out of the year, which is we actually we had known each other for a while, but we actually kind of teamed up for the first time at the National Restaurant Association show in Chicago last year, and this May, was it around the 17th? I think it is. I'm really looking forward to this year's show. It's the 100th anniversary of the National Restaurant Association's national show in Chicago, and I think this is going to be a show to be remembered. I haven't even looked at what they have in store, but I think this is going to be one of the most fun shows we've been to.
Absolutely, by far. And I mean, for people who don't get to go to the show, we're going to bring them a lot of the action. you know, to let them see what the inside of one of these shows. But it is a city.
Oh, yeah.
It is not a show like any show you've ever been to. It is a small city that they build to create this thing.
So, you know, I'm going to look up. I want to see how many square feet. Square McCormick. So I kind of brought this up on purpose, right? This wasn't blind, but so here's one of the things. I love the Chefworks chef coats, and I'm wearing one right now. It's funny because I had a show host on another platform where Doc used to work. He said, "Oh, you know, I have that brown one that I wear," and he goes, "Who's your tailor? The same one as what is it, Kim Jong Un?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" It was really funny, actually. I'm like, "Man!" And then I wore this one the next day. Says, "Now you've just confirmed it." And I was like, "Man, it's a rough crowd." But I'll tell you what, Chefworks, which is you know, they're really still a small company based in San Diego. I remember when they first launched, you know, a couple decades ago, they were going around trying to compete with another big brand, another big company that's out there that distributes for multiple manufacturers, but they really have set the bar. And if you are looking for just a basic chef coat out there, and no, they are not a sponsor. I would love for you to be a sponsor, by the way, Chefworks. But I just really love their products. No, I mean, look, they're innovative. They have, like, this is stretchy. Right? It's a stretchy material. It's got venting up the sleeve and on the back. It's very, very, they're very creative, and all of it's functional. So if you're looking for a chef coat out there, even for, you know, home cooking, things like that, from the $15 to $20 range all the way up to $100 or more, I want to say it's chefworks.com. I'm pretty positive it is. If not, you'll find it. Just look them up. Chefworks in San Diego County. Awesome product. Actually, they may have moved up to North County. I don't think they're in San Diego proper anymore, but, you know, you never know. Hint, hint. You're right. Hint, hint. We need more chef coats. I'd like a different color for every day, so they know it's not just me as a retread and they see the video. But
that'd be flashy. Yeah.
So on that note, there's a manufacturer of pots and pans here, some cookware, that recently sent you a sample to use. And, man, those look badass. I mean, tell us more about this new line of product that came out.
I will. A good friend of mine, Marvin Levy, who is a very, very proud producer of Gotham Steel, also now has a line that he has teamed up to create called Diamond Granite. And he likes to send me cases of whatever he's producing right now so I can test them out, see how they work in the kitchen, and go from there. And I got to give it to him. The Diamond Granite line is really nice. I've made everything from caramel to candied jalapenos to all those messy, sticky things I like to make, and I haven't been able to get anything to stick to it yet.
You and those those candied jalapenos, man, you love those things. You eat them with every meal, don't you?
Pretty much. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, it doesn't matter. I'll put it on there. I mean, I probably go through 20 every 2 days, 20 jalapenos every 2 days.
I know you do like your food spicy. I mean, that was apparent at the food show, but then even more so at the Mohegan Sun. But yeah, and so look, what's the difference between this and the previous line of Gotham Steel? So you call it the Diamond Granite? Is this one right? The Diamond Granite?
Diamond Granite.
Okay.
Yep. The biggest thing I noticed about this is other pans, you always have that super slick surface. You know, they put the coating on there so it's nonstick and it's just a super slick surface. These have a texture inside and out. And I was curious about that when I started cooking, because anytime you start thinking about too much texture in a surface, you think that it's innately going to give those nooks and crannies for things to stick into. It hasn't been the case. And the other great thing that I've enjoyed personally with kids and life and everything else is all of them I've been able to throw in the dishwasher over and over again, and I haven't had a scratch, an issue, nothing.
See, now, so here's what I always found with, obviously all of us used Teflon coated pans for a long time. We didn't know the difference. But anything that was coated with a kind of that nonstick surface, even the ceramic coated pans that I'd used, I would, when you tried to spray oil on there, because look, even if you don't need it, it adds a different type of sear. and a different crust to the product, right? That caramelization is completely different when it's dry versus with oil. And so I liked the oil in the pan. And with the stainless steel stuff we use in the restaurants, it's just common practice. But when you spray it on those slick surfaces, if you notice, it beads up or just runs to the outside. And so you couldn't use it. It didn't, unless you filled it with enough oil to, to cover the whole body, the entire bottom, which you don't want in a saute. It didn't work. But with this one, can you spray with oil? Does it coat better, or does it just still bead up or run to the outside?
This one definitely felt like it coated better compared to even his previous lines. This one definitely felt like it coated better. It just overall, and again, it was just weird for me to deal with a textured pan. So it took me a little bit to get used to that. But in reality, it's the textured pan is what's making it so effective.
Yeah. So where's my set? I need a set. You got to ask for me.
I will make sure. I will grab Marvin. I'll shoot him a text and tell him you need a set there for the studio and you. That'd
be awesome. So then what we can do is we can practice making things that are sticky, ooey gooey, whatever we want to call them. Sticky. I want a baked stiffy. What is it? Sticky toffee pudding. What is that? Sticky. What's that?
Oh yeah, sticky toffee pudding.
Oh man, it just didn't sound right. That's one of my favorite desserts, by the way. That with the clotted cream, which is basically butter. Oh my goodness! If you have not had real sticky toffee pudding, find there's this great place in Houston that closed. There's a great British chef. They were from the northern part of, they were just north of Houston. They moved into town. I think they're from like Huntsville. And they've been working in different restaurants. They collaborated. They opened this great place. I think it was called Feast. Anyway, it was on Westheimer. It was an old house they had converted to a restaurant. And I'll tell you, they had the most brilliant menu, but their sticky toffee pudding was the best I've ever had. And I still can taste that to this day. Oh my gosh. And they made it in like a timbal. So it almost looked like an inverted, what's the other pudding? The bread that you make in the really hot pan, the hot muffin pan. That they always, they serve it with all the English meats to soak up the gravy. Anyway, I can't have any meat if you don't eat your pudding, or pudding if you don't eat your meat goes that way. Yeah.
The
Yorkshire pudding. Thank you. That's
Yorkshire, the popovers.
Yeah. So it's basically looks like that, but inverted. The way that it was fantastic. I swear I can still taste the caramelized sugar on the outside that had kind of formed almost a crust. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you what, it beats, I'm not going to say the name, but this cake in a can here, which was lovingly sent by one of our listeners in England. But man, that was amazing. That's my favorite English dessert, even above and beyond trifle. But okay, we got to get a set here in the studio. You and I'll goof around, see who can make the most difficult concoction to clean out of a pan, and see if we can't get it to stick or stain or somehow otherwise caramelize and burn into one of those nooks and crannies. So let me know when you get that secured, and that'll be fun. Oh, I forgot to mention, you got a big trip coming up next month.
Yes, I do. In an effort to constantly bring Spoony listeners everything that's going on in food from everywhere it's going on, next month I will be flying to Puerto Rico to cover a huge international food event. All right, so people are watching me on my phone. I'm crazy excited about that.
So people are watching me on my phone right there. I want to make sure I get these because I often either don't have my glasses to read, and so I'll write something down and then I can't discern what I wrote, or my contacts, they're old and dirty or torn, and so I then again can't read, or I just fail to write it down. So I'm trying to be a bit more organized. Now, you're working with two groups here. One is Alabama Coasting, right? Is that correct?
Yep, those are my buddies from Alabama Coasting.
Okay, and so
met them a couple of years ago at World Foods.
And they work and they're associated with the Alabama Tourism Board of Tourism. Is that correct, or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, they work really, really close with them. They do a lot of travel publications about Alabama. They are basically, if anything I ever want to know, need, or hear about when it comes to the state of Alabama, I call them.
Gotcha. And I mean, they are a class act, by the way. They are a couple of classy guys. I mean, not just the two, but the entire organization is a class act. Now they have put you in contact, or actually they had contacted on your behalf, the Puerto Rican. Is it the Board of National Tourism? Is that correct? Or National Tourism Board?
It is the Puerto Rican Tourism Board. Yeah, National Tourism Board.
Okay.
They're doing a big event for them, and I'm super excited to be included in that.
Do you know if any of the others? So, one of the chefs in the news that we talk about a lot, and one of your favorites. He's probably, from a culinary perspective, he's top 3 chef for me. I mean, his food his talent put Mexican food on the top of the map for me, really. And that's Jose Andres, who I believe is,
Yep.
Okay, so with that, he went down to Puerto Rico after, was it Hurricane Maria, I believe, right?
I believe it was. He has been doing probably almost more work than just about anybody I've seen lately.
I mean, they fed
that guy is everywhere cooking food for everybody.
It's crazy. They fed like they've fed like 1.5 million meals to the hungry in Puerto Rico. And that was as of September of 2018. And I know they're still feeding people down there. So it's just crazy.
Yeah, it really is. To think that the amount of time and resources, and what people miss is they think, man, it's fantastic that they're doing all this work. When you're at his level, I mean, your hourly rate that you bring into your business by being present is astronomical. And when you take that much time away, it is not just him sacrificing time and product and resources. He is giving up a significant portion of income just because he believes so strongly in helping people eat.
So to give you a little insight into that, you and I were looking at some things. When we were at the Mohegan Sun, one of my former kind of coworkers, and I consider him a friend. You may not consider me a friend, but Govind Armstrong. We're just talking, and we did a shout out to Jeffrey Klein, my consulting partner. But so we started looking at these day rates for chefs, right, that appear at events, because you and I were trying to put together what it costs to have all these world-class chefs at this event. I can tell you right now, for celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay, his day rate or event rate, maybe multiple days, but minimum $100K. That's just for an appearance.
Jeez.
Yeah, and that may be an event rate, right? But so maybe the rest of us, I'm significantly below that, but you got to think Jose Andres, he's right there at that level, right? He's maybe not as well known, but he's got to command a really significant rate to appear. Hell, I ran and operated a restaurant that we had licensed from Nobu, and it was still like $10,000 a day above and beyond his fund. He was getting money from the restaurant. He got a percentage of gross sales, plus a percentage of the net, plus licensing fee, plus he got a day rate of like $10K, and then we had to fly him first. I'm not knocking Nobu. You're a brilliant and amazing chef, and thank you so much for your mentorship and teaching. But you're right. The amount of money that they lose by not being in their establishment or not charging for these appearances and doing this for free. Not only doing it for free, but now running an organization which is feeding these people. Right now, you have to spend the time building the organization. And yes, you may have a board of people that direct this, but you still have to come up with the initiative and choose where, when, how many, and how much. It's phenomenal. I mean, he's not the only one. There are a bunch of other chefs out there. Massimo Bottura is really famous for his philanthropic efforts. The story of when during the Olympics in Brazil, right? Okay, so they took all the food that was left over from the Olympic Village, and they set up these temporary food kitchens to feed the poor and homeless in Rio, and that was spectacular. I can't remember how many million pounds of food were actually salvaged and repurposed, but it was unbelievable. But anyway, so he's done all this wonderful direct work in Puerto Rico, and you get to go down there. And do you know if there's going to be any collaboration with these organizations, these other food-oriented organizations that you'll be able to work with?
That's what I'm excited about. I've got a call with all of the parties down there in the next few days just to go over the details of who's there, what they're doing. I believe I'm actually going to be doing some cooking on Puerto Rican television while I'm down there. It's going to be a unique opportunity to get full access to everything that's going on.
So is that NPR TV? Sorry, that was a bad joke, man. Well, hey, man, if you need a fly on the wall to listen and just to get some of those details and link them for you, let me know. But I'm excited. You know, we're collaborating at a level which is transcending just your show and some other things. We have a lot of really great things lined up, especially in the second half of this year, that you and I will be working on behalf of Spoony and the greater Spoony family. But hey, man, you get any shout outs you want to give? We got about 2 minutes left in the show. But before I kick you off the air and do my closing, anybody you want to mention?
Yeah, I definitely want to say hi to Gemma from Innovative Group. She's a huge help and resource to us. We're looking forward to everything going on with her. And, you know, it's exciting to think about the people we're going to hear from and talk to and that's going on. There's an interesting new product that's coming out that you and I are going to get one to play with. You don't even know about this one yet, but it is going to change the way a lot of people prepare steak.
Okay, you know we can't play. We aren't allowed to play. We aren't allowed to play with stuff on the air, right? You know that, right? Certain things. I'm just joking. Hey, no. So actually, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I do. Right. I do. No, because we've talked. Okay. All right.
I got a really interesting connection with them last night.
Okay, I got one more question for you before I kick you off the air a second. But do you know the only food that does not go bad, that never spoils?
Oh dear God!
Matt's in there scratching his head. He won't know.
About a food.
Matt,
salt.
I'm worried about a food that doesn't go bad.
Okay, so this is not a spice. So it's not a spice, but salt doesn't go bad. It can, you know, it's very antibacterial, but. No clue?
No
worry. Okay. Honey dries out. It can crystallize, but it never goes bad. Matter of fact, they used to carry it on the fields in Roman times. They would use it as an antiseptic and a treatment for open wounds. But hey, Chef, I'll catch up with you later, man. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate you. Chef Mark Conway of Family Meal. Well, I'll talk to you in a couple hours, man. Thank you.
Yep, right. Bye.
Cheers. All right, hey, thanks for listening today. Chef Patrick Mosher here. Look, catch us on social media. Go to the website, Spoony.com. Click on the Listen Now. It takes you right to iHeartRadio. Go to Spreaker, listen down past the podcast. All right, see you tomorrow. Ciao for now.
This is the only 24-hour take-anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. A federal judge has ordered Trump confidant Roger Stone to appear in court this Thursday to address an Instagram post featuring a photo of the judge with what appears to be the crosshairs of a gun.